Welcome to this episode of Brilliant Brains and Beautiful Minds. I'm your host, Melanie Bernicle. Today we're talking about a natural skincare range where they focus on deriving one single plant extract per serum. Now, they've not only created this amazing product, they've actually created the technology behind extracting the plants. Please welcome from Biologi, my wonderful guests for today, Lucy and Ross MacDougald. Welcome, Lucy and Ross. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Good, thank you very much. And yourself?
Yep, going great. Finding lots of things to do during this time of, being stuck in four walls.
We're still operating, so obviously we've got an online platform, so we can still operate. So we've still been kind of coming to work or working from home where possible. So it hasn't stopped for us.
Well, I guess that's kind of great. It's great that, you've got the demand and you need to keep going, which obviously is a testament to your product.
Yeah, no, it's been really great. So we're super thankful for that.
Yeah, I bet. So before we sort of get into where you're at now with biology, I just wanted to take like a bit of a step back in time for both of you, and we can do this sort of individually, and then I guess you'll come together and tell us the story. But Lucy, so you've sort of come from the background dermal therapist, and you've moved into your role now. Can you tell us about growing up? Is this where you thought you'd be?
Yeah, sure. So I was one of those kids that when they're at school kind of didn't really know what they wanted to do. And actually when I left high school, got my university entrance in New Zealand as well. And I thought I wanted to do a Bachelor of Arts in criminology and sociology. Then I changed my mind last minute and enrolled to become a nurse. So I did my first year of nursing through university. Then after that, I freaked out and thought this isn't for me and enrolled in a diploma of beauty therapy. And I'll never forget my mum just being like, but what are you going to do? Are you going to paint nails for the rest of your life? Like what, that was in her world, that was all that beauty was. And I said, I'm doing this. This is what I'm doing. And actually, I guess that was the path I was supposed to go down in life. And so, of course, finished my diploma. My tutor in my first year was actually the skin therapist for a plastic surgeon. And that's when I realized there's more to the beauty world other than, fluffy beauty, if you want to call it that. And that kind of started it all. And I moved over to Australia, got brought out by Australian skin clinics. So worked for them for 3 years and then jumped ship to Laser Clinics Australia. So, and then now I'm here.
Amazing. I love that. And what about yourself, Ross? Did you see yourself as the mad scientist from a young age, or were you doing experiments?
Yes.
It sounds like your mum would have a few good stories there.
It's probably best not to say what I did at school, but
being creative.
I was mucking around with exploding things and doing things that were probably not at the best interests of everyone. But I found it really interesting, and I've always been interested in chemistry and physics and things like that. But look, I started my career working for a bank, and then I got a job working for a chemical company or a chemical supply company as a sample boy.
Wow.
And I'm just doing samples of all these things, and I guess I learnt basically all what ingredients go into what products and what they're used for, which was incredibly fantastic because with my career direction, there is no university degree for being a formulating chemist. There is no university degree for that, so you have to learn from getting a job in it.
Oh, wow.
I was working for a Thursday Plantation, which is a big tea tree company, and then I moved into working for a private research institute at Southern Cross University, developing products there. And I guess that in that time, I started working for very large multinationals in terms of developing products and also phytoactives that go into these brands as well. So look, I've had a huge experience in terms of developing different types of products for those industries, and shampoos, conditioners, creams, lotions, you name it. I've developed them, toothpastes, and all of that. And then I decided that I wanted to go out by myself, and so I started my own companies up. One being Phytoverse, which has been going for 20 years, and that's it's a wholesale essential oil and vegetable oil company, and it supplies most of the brands that Biologi goes up against, which is ironic. And then I then started up a company called Plant Extracts, and just from all my science and understanding about plant nutrients. And then along came Biologi after that. I can go into further detail, but that's a pretty much like a yeah.
Yeah. But I think it's really interesting because I would have assumed, like I finished school in year 10, so I just wanted to get out there and just be me without being told what that was. But yeah, I just, it's one of those things. I just wanted to get out there and just get my hands dirty with life and figure it out. And so I just find it really interesting that it's something that, we're putting on our skin, we're putting on our face, or we're eating, or we're brushing our teeth with, that sometimes what you're saying is there's no actual specific degree for doing that. It's just, you're learning on the job, and that's within itself just really fascinating.
Yeah, look, I always try to depict what I do, to say cooking, and you have chefs and you have cooks, and there's not many chefs in the cosmetic industry, as in terms of, I don't like to big note myself, but the people who actually create a product for a particular issue, say for example skincare.
Yeah.
Anyone can put a formula together if you've given the ingredients, the percentages, and how to do it, and that's cool. It's the person who actually writes that.
Yes.
Chef, and that's what I do. And there's only probably a dozen of me in the world which has the experience of developing the products and also knows all the ins and outs of plant nutrients and how they're created and how plants do it. And it's taken years of study and a lot of trial and error. A lot of stuff that we do, a lot of things that don't work out.
Yeah. I think that rings true for a lot of people, but I guess you've got to back yourself, and you know where you want to go, and it's about keeping the wheels turning to get there.
Yeah, exactly. It's I don't look upon what I do as a job. It's a hobby. It's a passion of mine. So I love what I do. It's really important to.
The best way to wake up in the morning.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm probably taking up all the time here.
Oh, that's all right. Well, I wanted to find out before we continue along Biologi's path, did you two meet through Biologi, or did you come together and then move forward together with Biologi?
I met Ross. I was still working at Laser Clinics Australia. And I think at that point, Biologi was at its name.
Yeah, I was developing the products in Biologi, and Lucy tried to get my attention, and I just tried to pretend that I didn't notice her. No, I'm joking. Go on, you tell the story.
So Ross came into Laser Clinics, and I remember him looking at the back of a product, and I just thought that was really weird because men don't normally walk into a laser clinic and look at the back of a skincare product.
Yeah.
So that kind of started the conversation, and he mentioned that he was working on something that I might be interested in. And it kind of all went from there. And I'm not sure if you believe in fate and all of those types of wonderful things, but it definitely that was our paths were meant to meet in this lifetime and be able to create this brand. And it's been awesome being able to work on it together. I know a lot of people say, oh God, if I worked with my husband, I would have killed him like within the first 5 minutes. But to be able to work on a brand together, it's really awesome. And Ross had already developed the first 3 products, so the face, eye, and body serum. But for him to trust me to go on to develop all of the future products after that, it was awesome. And he gave me the full range of Biologi about just before we'd been a year old, I think. And so it was a really nice thing for him to do, to be able to trust me with his company that he started, and allow me to be able to take it to where it is now, which has been awesome.
Yeah. Do you think as well, Lucy, with your background, because you've been so hands-on treating the skin, you were able to bring like some real concerns that women have, or men, and really be able to kind of knock those on the head with the products that you develop?
Absolutely, and I think that's why we're really lucky. So you've kind of taken Ross's knowledge of the industry in terms of like formulating, like where they get it wrong. So it's like, how do we make a product that actually works, which is going to deliver the results? And then I thought of it from the customer's point of view, especially even with something as simple as customer service. And we really pride ourselves on customer service, and the girls do and our customer service team do full on skin consults, something similar to that you'd actually get in a skin clinic. And we offer, the girls have a huge knowledge base. So, they can refer to like naturopaths and nutritionists if they think that there's something more going on. And customers don't normally see that. So you've got that. Plus, I feel like I've kind of taken and absorbed everything that a client's ever said to me when they've come in to see me, about their skin concerns about certain issues, products don't work for them. And even I think skin sensitivity is huge. And often you'd have, especially in like a laser clinic or something like that, you'd have a client come in for say hair removal, and then of course we do have to, there's certain KPIs and things like that we have to meet in clinic, and you'd start talking about a product to a client and they'd say, sorry, I can't, I'm too sensitive, like I'm not interested in product, I can't use anything on my skin. And so that really stuck with me with biology, and especially the amazing results we've been able to achieve on sensitive skin. So I'm like, how do we kind of really help those people? And then obviously other skin conditions too, but I feel like I kind of absorbed everything that I'd learned and applied it to biology so that we could just make this amazing experience for a customer as well as awesome products. So.
Yes, I was watching on YouTube a video of this girl who'd done a review on your product, and it was amazing. Like, her acne was that horrible cystic acne, and this girl had sort of gone into it with like, oh, I've tried everything, whatever. And then the results, and just, you could actually, not just that the skin looked amazing, but her body language. And I just thought, how remarkable when you see someone like, like this is, and you can see that kind of energy, and all of a sudden she was like, oh yeah, like, I've done it, like this is great. And to know that she's not adding any extra chemicals into her body, like it's a really beautiful product on that sense. How does that make you feel?
We're really proud of it. And I think
that's exactly the reason why we've done it, is because nutrients, your skin only needs the things that will make it better. It doesn't need anything else. The only thing skin needs is nutrients to actually help it and heal itself. And it's as simple as that, in a very simplistic form. And that's all you need. You add anything else into a skincare product other than things that are going to make benefit, and that's you'll get problems. It's really simple.
So I guess coming from a point of view where you have made different products for different brands, do you find a lot of people would put a cheaper product in to fill out the product to do something different with the skin? Is that how it would work?
Yeah, like most products contain 80% water. It's the most expensive water in the world, depending on the brand. And what's the water there for? Dilution, I guess. But most active ingredients are in a skincare product at 1%, 2% max. And what's the other 98%? It's the stuff that makes up the cream or the lotion it's there for a visual effect, not for the skin effect, if you can say that. Like the fragrance. Yeah. What's the fragrance in there for other than to make it smell nice? There's no benefit to the skin other than causing irritancy and sensitization. That was my philosophy. I said, if it doesn't benefit the skin, then it doesn't need to be in there. And hence the reason why biology is just 100% plant.
And so talk me through, I guess, working with all the chemicals, why you believe and what you see with the plant side of things, how that, is elevated in comparison to the synthetics.
Yeah, sure. Well, I guess probably the best idea, the way to answer that is, I got a lot of inspiration out of the raw food movement and realizing that, we keep on eating the foods, the processed foods and the takeaway foods and all of these foods, we're actually slowly killing ourselves because we're not delivering pure plant nutrients. And you've got to understand that when human evolution is hand in hand with plant evolution. So we are what we eat. So most of our nutrients we require in our body are from plants, and there's a reason for that. And so when we move away from eating plants and start substituting that with processed foods, synthetic vitamins, minerals, our body suffers from that. It's only logical. So when you see the raw food movement, people eating raw foods, and you see the benefits of that, I just felt, well, why don't we do this in skincare? Like it's only logical to try and do that. And I had seen through my experience working for, putting formulations together, that most of the formulations we were putting together was to a price. It wasn't to an end result of being a positive product. It was to a price, and it smelled nice and looked nice and a nice packaging. But did it work on the skin? Most of the time, not. So I wanted to go, well, we need to leave that behind. That's just old technology. We need to really address the issues I'm seeing. And I'm still seeing massive amounts of skin irritation, skin problems. We see it all the time in biology. And so we need to address that. And so that's the reason why I started looking at how nutrients are created in plants, how they use them, where they are produced, where they're stored in plants, how the plant transfers them around, and how that correlates to our own cellular matrix in our bodies. And so it was a few years and millions of dollars worth of research went into this.
And that's how your extraction method.
Yeah, that's the extraction method came from that. So we're able to now trap pure nutrients in plants in the liquid matrix that plants produces, and take that entire matrix of liquid and the nutrients and take it out of the plant and put it in a bottle. So what you're putting on your face is just basically the serum or the blood per se inside the plant, and that's it.
That's amazing. I think the fact that you drive us to create this great product, but then you've created this amazing technology along the way that can actually do that. And I just think, you're doing it here with, what you're using it for, but just to be able to get something so pure into your body. And again, like there's no filler in it. So, when you pay for your product, you're getting a whole lot of goodness.
It's the only brand in the world that you can actually eat.
Can eat the skincare. It's that pure.
Yeah.
I was chatting with someone the other day, and they said that over however much of your woman's lifetime, how much lipstick you actually eat. And then they were talking about what was in it. And I just think, how many creams have I put on my face? You're absorbing it in, and just there's so many chemicals. And I find, that really frightening. Really frightening.
Yeah, I mean, there's every year the US or the European Union ban more and more substances because all of a sudden they find that they're irritant and carcinogenic. And there's no, of course, the whole thing is that if your cellular structure doesn't know how to deal with a certain molecule, and it takes years and years and years, thousands of years to our cellular structure to understand a molecule.
Yeah.
If we create one 5 years ago, it's not going to know how to use it, and that's where irritancy and inflammation occurs. So what we need to do is make sure that we're putting nutrients on our skin or eating nutrients that our body or our cellular structure knows what to do with. Yeah. It's that simple.
I think that's the easiest way I've heard someone ever talk about that, because it makes sense. Like it's a really simple sentence that people should start to absorb before they're doing a lot of things to themselves.
One of the most dangerous things that you can put on your skin, and sometimes people will say that I'm just I'm all against synthetics, and I'm a big natural person. Well, natural chemicals can also be very dangerous for you as well. Arsenic and chlorine are classic examples. You wouldn't find me on putting them on my skin, but like essential oils. Essential oils are really, really dangerous in terms of sensitivity and intoxication, because they have a lot of compounds in them that are sensitive to our skin. So I'm a big believer in, I just be honest about things.
Yeah.
And, there is certain synthetic chemicals that we do require. Like, for example, surfactants that go into shampoos. We need something to wash our hair. And those things are created to do that. So I don't mind that.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, looking at it where there's a time and a place to be able to use things, but yeah, if you can sort of stick down to this nice natural route. The fact that your products tick a lot of boxes for me in particular, but for a lot of people out there, um, is that something that you were conscious of from the beginning? So being cruelty free, vegan, as because it's obviously a natural plan and keeping it all within that wheelhouse. Was that something that you thought about from the beginning as well, or is that something that fell into place naturally because of what you were using?
You want to answer this?
Yeah, so basically for Ross, the science came first. So the extracts themselves came first, and the science and the time and the money and the years that went into developing that technology. And then to have something that is so pure and so active be the end product, which went into a bottle, which happened to be vegan, cruelty-free, sustainable, organic, plant to bottle. Like those parts for us are literally just the cherry on the top for the brand. And I often find that people get hung up on that part, like that's the only part. And I think that's because a lot of brands will say, oh, we are all these things. But I'm like, I would prefer to be a brand that actually works and delivers results to the customer.
It was never developed. It was a singularly thing I wanted to develop for, and that was for the customers or people's skin to get better. And that's as simple as that. As Lucy said, everything else is a great add-on, but I just wanted a brand that worked.
Yeah, that's I think most people do. But they have to go through a whole lot of brands that don't work before they get to it. So hopefully we can share the message and give them something that they deserve. Can you talk me through your serums? Because when I was reading about them and then watching these videos, that just blew me away. So each serum has the one product in it, and that's it, which is amazing because what we're saying, so many people fill things out and do this. But for example, your BD serum has the Davidson plum. And so, that's it. It's captured that's it. That just blows my mind that it's one beautiful product.
Yeah, and it's awesome. That we do obviously have to add like a tiny amount of preservative. All of the extracts that go into biology are water soluble, and water is the perfect place for bacteria and things to grow. So we have to put a small amount of preservative in at 0.2%. But it's all of the products are just a single, pure plant extract. Apart from our rosehip oil, which of course is rosehip oil, which in itself is just one product. But that was what I always wanted, was just to.
Yeah, it's easy. Look, I see. I don't look at them as singular plant extracts because plants produce multiple phytonutrients, and so that's what I look at. It's like Davidson plum may be a single extract, but it has multiple phytonutrients in it, and so that we're delivering multiple phytonutrients to people's skin. Just like with the BK, Kakadu plum, and all the others, they have multiple phytonutrients. And the great thing about all of these nutrients, the plant hasn't just decided, oh, I'm just going to produce these things, willy-nilly. They've actually produced them because they all work in unison together or synergistically together to produce an outcome. For example, in the Kakadu plum, they've got pure vitamin C in it. It also has ellagic and gallic acids, which are two phenolic acids that boost the benefits of vitamin C, and vitamin C does it as well. So it's great when you understand the complexities of these nutrients and how they work together to deliver the results. And the results are delivered so quickly because of how pure the products are.
Yeah. I think that's amazing, and we'll have everything up as well on the site so that people can link through and just explore the products. And it's just, it really excites me. And I do love that you do have like a travel mini size as well. So for people who haven't used the product, they can actually get their hands on it and try it for themselves in those smaller products until they go, right, that's the one I want, or this is where I love this one more. But I'm terrible. I'm always like, I want everything. But I guess for different days, people have the different skin things going on. So I think I love everything about looking at the inflammation and the sensitivity side of things. I think it's really cool that people start looking at that with everything that they're doing, because I think cutting out gluten or just doing one thing isn't enough these days because there's so much out there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely agree.
we're just becoming more and more becoming more toxic, aren't we? I mean, gluten and lactose intolerance is just the form of seeing that our body has just had enough of those certain elements, and it's saying enough is enough. We can't take this anymore.
Yeah, my body's doing it all the time, which is, when I'm
Same with
talking
mine.
to you guys, I find it really exciting that there's some great products out there as well. Can I have a chat to you about, something that you may have not have had the best end result, like when you're talking about that you failed at a lot of things to be able to get to here. Is there something that you'd like to sort of share? And it's just to sort of about what was your process to kind of keep having that energy to move forward and know there's your end goal, and what kind of drives you, and what do you do when you have those blocks to kind of jump over them?
Yeah, I think mine and Ross's might be slightly different. Like, I know I've definitely had things that are choices I've made within biology, and I can talk more about that. Ross's might be more like science, because he's definitely, really spent so many years on the extraction process. So, I guess for me, like for biology as a brand, I've definitely know that there's been a few decisions I've made, maybe like an event or a brand collaboration or something like that didn't go to plan, wasn't as engaging, or it wasn't as successful as you'd hoped it to be, and you've obviously invested money, or even just paying for certain types of advertising and you don't get the type of return on investment that you're expecting. And obviously when you're a small business trying to get off the ground, sometimes those decisions, or I guess I don't call them mistakes, they're not mistakes, they're just learning. You have to learn everything from them. But I think you have to find the positive, or like what did I learn from what went wrong, and what could I do better next time. I think you have to. I feel like for me there's no kind of real, I don't know, method to trying to fix it. I always just try and say, okay, what went wrong, how can we do it better next time, and just keep moving forward. Like I really don't ever let it get me down. And I know that especially with coronavirus at the minute and things like that, there's a lot of people feeling quite down and stuff about their businesses or maybe decisions that they made, but you just have to keep going and remember why you're doing what you're doing. That's for me, but I know yours is probably different. His is more, but yours is a bit more science.
Oh, there's many things I regret in my life. I don't know, how long does this go for?
Give us one. Give me something that could be fun.
But just on work, like, look, I think that my drive is to find better solutions. I think it's really important for me that I find things that aren't working or need to be readjusted, and I find and I do a lot of testing, and when you find something that in the literature is meant to be doing this, and you do a study and it's doing another thing, you question the validity of the science or the brand or the products or the whole market, and you soon find out that there's a whole heap of misinformation there, and then instead of like going, oh, well, I'll just keep on going with misinformation, I decide to actually call it out. And then I prove it with my science. And, it causes me a bit of trouble sometimes. And, I don't probably make enemies more than friends. But I do research my stuff and I make sure. And I'm only there to try and educate people into what is real and what's not, and and what's logical, and that's and I have made mistakes along the way, or not mistakes, but one of the classic ones is I found out was like when we first started creating these extracts, I thought, hey, why don't we just put them all together? We could come up with this awesome blend of everything else, and we put it all together, and the colour changed.
And the phytoactive disappeared.
Yeah. So you were putting, and then I realised that, you may be putting X, Y, and Z into a bottle, but all the actives in one of them would disappear. and new actives would be created. And what we realised is that the extracts in biology are actually still alive. Like there's the nutrients in them can change, and they can change their molecular structures and rechange themselves within their liquid matrix. And when you introduce another plant extract, it'll attack that and either destroy that phytonutrient or create another one. And so we realized that you can't mix them because plants don't mix themselves. And so, you went, oh, of course, when you think about it logically, you go, those nutrients are created because they're synergistic together. And so with these ones, you put them together and they don't like it.
Yeah.
So that was
a big thing that we found.
It wasn't really a mistake. It was just a big learning curve. So, and that was early on. So that was great.
Yeah, it's nice to get some of the big ones out early on, but they tend to keep coming at you.
But at least look, we went, yeah, well, and we tell people that it's there's a lot of people that will say, oh God, we've got multiple actives in ours, and we don't believe you. And you go, well, and people call you out and say, well, where'd you get that? Well, we've got the evidence, we have the data. Yeah, you do what you want to do. I don't really care what you're going to do in your brand.
Yeah.
But we're not doing ours.
Do it your way. So that kind of leads me back to, especially where you were just sort of finishing off there as well, Lucy. You said, you always came back to your why. And this is something that you've just touched on as well, Ross. So for me, if you could sum up your brand's purpose, which is your why, in a sentence, if it's possible, what would it be?
Well, I guess the brand kind of tagline that we're moving towards is unparalleled cellular skincare. But that's obviously a bit more of a marketing, slogan. But for us, it's always been to help. But we want to help by creating skincare that actually works.
Yeah.
So to help is at the forefront of everything that we do. Everything's about helping. So
I think that's really lovely. And I think, people, they want to be helped because there's so much out there, especially with our online medias, that stuff gets force fed. And a lot of the time you go, oh, okay. But then hearing, you guys talk, and then also seeing what your brand does throughout the reviews online, like it speaks for itself.
Thank you. Yeah, it's
the before and afters just blow me away.
But I couldn't stop watching them.
It just blows me away when and my favourite thing is when you, like you said at the start of the interview, when you were watching that YouTube, and you see it changes someone's self-esteem.
Yeah,
and that is the most important thing to me. If you can change someone's love for themselves to a positive, then you've won. You've won every time.
Yeah. So you're actually changing the molecular structure in people as well, and they don't even know it. Thank you so very much for your time this afternoon. I'm extremely grateful, and look forward to getting this up and out there for everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. It was lovely to meet you.
Thank you so much.
Likewise. Thanks, Lucy. Thanks, Ross.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Head on over to beautybossbusiness.com for all the links and everything else you need from today's episode. Thanks for joining us on Brilliant Brains and Beautiful Minds. See you next time.